So I've got to make sure that my business survives if you leave, if you get hit by a bus or whatever. So I've got to make you replaceable.
Yep.
And I make no apologies for that. So I'm putting systems in, and they'd say to me, "You're doing this so if I don't come in, you keep going, don't you?" Exactly. That's exactly what I'm doing. And they knew it.
Yep.
I said, "But your job, you're going to make yourself irreplaceable. So I'm trying to replace you, and you're scratching and clawing around trying to make sure you are irreplaceable." So,
Hey, welcome to the show, Leading and Growing Your Real Estate Business. This is Coach James Short, aka Shorty. And this is a show for those within the real estate industry wanting to lead and grow their real estate business. It's a series of interviews that we conduct for those within the industry. So we're finding out what those leaders are within the industry, what makes them tick, what's their story, what are their strategies, and how to become the leaders and the growers within the industry. But also it's an interview series with those outside of the industry. I'm always a big believer of looking at a whole different part of the pie rather than just focusing on one part of the pie. Because what it does, it allows you to have a different perspective, allows you to get snippets or golden nuggets from those outside of the industry that can look into the industry and go, there's a different perspective. And I encourage you to reach out to the guests. I encourage you to lean into these series to find out how can these pieces of information, experiences, stories help you lead and grow your real estate business. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition, another show. Wow, we are honored and privileged to have this next guest on the show. Paul Wright is a physiotherapist and former owner of multiple allied health clinics in Australia, which he very rarely visited. He's the author of the Amazon bestseller, How to Run a 1-Minute Practice, founder of Practiceology, Health Business Freedom Program, and has helped thousands of allied health businesses owners across 57 countries to earn more, work less, and enjoy their lives. Today, we're going to be unpacking about business, what he's noticing out in the business world with his wealth of information, wealth of knowledge, and wealth of experience. We're going to look at what are some of the trials and tribulations around staff, around margins, around the certain challenges if you may be running teams or if you've got an agency or running a business yourself. So let's get it to it. Legend, Paul, welcome, mate.
very, very nervous, James. This could go anywhere.
This could
I don't know
go
where
so anywhere.
I don't know where this is going to go. Anyway, all right. I'm happy to share with what I can. But all right, what do you want to know, champion?
Let's unpack it. I wanted to get you on the show because of your business background, because your business experience. You've done so many different amazing things and you had such big impact. But share with the audience your story around your business growth and your business journey.
Okay. Ooh. Okay. Where do I go back? Interesting enough that I asked you before you went live, who's our audience? Because I said I'm on the real estate podcast. What? And I've got a disastrous stories after disaster story of real estate. But business has been a bit better than real estate. But I think, as I said to you before we went live, it doesn't matter what business you're in. You borrow things from other professions. I don't know if you know this, that the drive-through McDonald's came from the banking industry. So you take things from wherever you can get them from. And I was fortunate, James, you were in the same era as me. I grew up in the fitness industry, in the Philex and business conferences around the world. And I would spend my time in the business strand of those conferences because there was no conferences like that for physio, chiro, osteo in those days. So I learned my business in fitness. And I still borrow every bit of information I took from the fitness industry because you guys know how to sell and market, or you did then. Sales, marketing, conversions, retention, and everything I learnt from those businesses, those things I just took into the allied health sphere. And you could do the same thing in real estate. It's no different. My brother's a plumber. He could effectively watch all of our resources and benefit greatly regardless of what profession he is. So anyway, so my background, mate, I was originally a phys ed teacher. So
There you go.
I graduated from Newcastle College back in the 80s. And I remember sitting on Newcastle Beach, James, and I graduated as a phys ed teacher. And I'm thinking, do I want to be a PE teacher for the rest of my life? Is that what I wanted to be? Like sport, love the lifestyle, I think, love the holidays.
Yep.
But some of my mates said, this is terrible. I can say it to you because it's only you and I talking. I didn't say this. Some of my mates said, we're giving up teaching because they took the cane away. They said, they've taken away all the enjoyment. Now that's terrible. And I wasn't one of those teachers, but So anyway, I thought, okay, do I want to be a teacher for the rest of my life? But I had an interest in anatomy, physiology, as from our fitness industry backgrounds. And I heard of this profession called physio, but I didn't know what a physio was, James. There was no physios where I grew up, Western New South Wales, Canamble. No, there was no one out there. So I didn't know what a physio was. So when I found out you could combine anatomy, physiology, injuries, rehab, ooh. So I applied to Sydney Uni, got accepted as a mature age student, and then remember receiving the letter to say I'd been accepted and deciding, do I go or not? Do I want to go to Sydney for 4 years? Do I want to, or do I just want to be a PE teacher? And I think, end of the day, James, I think there was part of me that had an entrepreneurial interest, and I maybe realised I couldn't work for myself as much as a phys ed teacher. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that was why I ended up becoming a physio. And then I did my college course, did a year in the public hospital, fortunately read Michael Gerber's E-Myth very early in my business
Wow.
career,
So
which was
good.
lucky, combined with my interest in the fitness strand at every fitness conference I was going, a business strand, every fitness conference I was going to, end up having 6 clinics, 5 in Sydney, 1 in Newcastle. As you said in the intro, I didn't go to them. My claim to fame was I had 6 clinics and didn't go to them. My favorite story of that, the time I turned up at my Newcastle practice, and it was inside Fitness First, inside at Newcastle in
There you
Qatar,
go.
and they wouldn't let me in because I wasn't a member. They didn't know who I
They didn't know who
was.
you were.
I was. And my daughter was there with me, and she was staggered that, Dad, but don't you own the practice? Yeah, don't worry about that. And I think that set it up. The
Yeah.
idea that you could run it without being there. And then I started teaching other professionals how to do it because it's possible to do it if you know what you're doing. And that
Mm.
became the next. I sold the practices and started teaching health professionals how to run businesses because we have no idea. And we didn't learn it at university. And all of a sudden you've got a practice and you're a great therapist, but you're no good running the business.
So true.
And that can be the same in every profession, whether you might be great at selling real estate, but can you run the real estate business? It's no different than my brother's plumbing business. Or it's the same in every profession,
Yeah.
James.
And that's where I wanted to get you on because of that exact reason. And you said something so important initially around looking outside of the industry that you're currently working in and getting what's working with some best practices, because so often we get so stale of what we know within our four walls. It's, oh, what's outside that door? What's outside that window? And how can we take that information and or that concept and that strategy and bring it into our running a business, running a team? And I think it's so often, as you just said, then you have these sales agents. Oh, cool. I can do this. Then I can be a sales manager. Oh, great. I can do this. I can run a business. And there are different set of skills. It's a different headspace. It's a different process to go through. And I
You're
want to
managing
sort of,
people. You're managing people. You're managing
yes,
processes. You're managing marketing. You open your practice as you guys do in real estate. All of a sudden, you're running everything. And you wonder why you're not seeing your family and your life's falling apart because you're just doing everything. Yeah.
that's right. And so where do most people get it wrong? Where do most people fall down in relation to taking that transition of being a great therapist or allied health professional and then wanting to open up their practice? What's that transition look like? Where do most people get it wrong?
You could go right back to the start, James. And I think the smartest owners I've seen and in our groups, and I've seen they open a business with the end in mind. And I think I was lucky when that, James. I wanted to run a business that served me, not the other way around. So I reverse engineered everything. So I don't want to have to do this. I don't know what don't I want to do and what do I want it to look like. So because you can get caught up in it. I mean, we've seen our friends get caught up in it, lecturing and traveling the world, and their family falls apart because you're not there. So I wanted to run a business that gave me freedom of time and freedom of money. Now, could I have made more money if I was more involved? Yeah, probably. I could have worked harder I could have seen patients from 8 in the morning till 8 at night, like some owners do. I could have been the person selling the real estate rather than the owner of the agency.
Yep.
But and you'll make more money. You'll save commissions, you'll save wages, you'll save these other things, but at what cost? I didn't want to be there from 8 in the morning till 8 at night. And I knew that multiple times, James, where I'd get a phone call in one of our practices, the manager would ring and say, Brian, the therapist, can't come in today. He's sick. Can you come and do the day? And I'd usually say no. It was terrible. I said I could. I lived close by. I could. but oh no, I don't really want to. So it's terrible. Maybe it's my work ethic wasn't great, but I wanted to. But that's the whole thing. The business's job was to serve me,
Yes.
and my idea of a perfect week was having nothing in my diary, James. So I
Yep.
wanted a business that gave me nothing in my diary. And even
Mm.
now, the business I'm running now, I condense things into very tight pockets and of time because I want lots of discretionary time. And I think where we go wrong, James, we have to do everything. We think we're the best at doing everything, and I think we just go into it wrong. The customer's got to be right. We've got to look after the customer. We've got to look after the team. And yeah, that's right, but not at the expense of your life and your family and what you value, because that's where it ends up. That
Yeah.
we see it. Look, what if the patients? What if Brian doesn't come in and the patients haven't got anyone to see? Well, they'll see another guy tomorrow, or it's not the end of the world. What if they leave? What if they leave? We didn't do a great job if that's all it takes for them to leave. There's bigger issues here than if I didn't return the phone call from the real estate client within 24 hours, will they dump us? If that's the case, there's problems maybe in your systems that mean that's all they value you on rather than relationship that you built with them. Anyway, that I don't know if that rambled the answer,
That's
but
great because
but
that's so important of having that end in mind and looking at what the things that you don't want to do, and then allows you to then reverse engineer that, as you said, that process, and
and
then
yeah.
looking at the steps.
And our best clients now, I'm doing it at the moment. I'm always thinking, anytime I do anything, James, I shouldn't be doing this. This is something
Mm.
I shouldn't be doing. The old time audit.
Yep.
If you sat there every week, we all
Yes.
should do it. But you'd love this one. I got some. I was. Sometimes I'm the great student. Sometimes I was the worst student. So I had six clinic. I had six clinics, James. But I think I made the mistake early. Helen and I washed the towels at our first clinic.
Oh,
So we'd take the towels home from the first clinic.
yep.
And then as it expanded, we never paid for towel laundry. We never had a laundry thing. So mate, six clinics. I was driving around Sydney in a 300ZX sports car. That's my pride and joy, is my 300ZX sports car. Mate, and I'm filling it with towels. All I'd take the towels in, I'd bring the towels back. And why was I doing
Towel
that,
boy.
James?
You're the
That
towel
was
boy.
stupid. But I'd be boring back the free because we lived in Newcastle at that stage. So I'd go to the 5 clinics in Sydney, do a lap around the clinic, say good day, grab the money, grab the towels. And it was terrible. And I'd jam them into the 300ZX sports car back down the freeway to Newcastle. And Helen would say, how do you fit him into the 300ZX? Like, there's bags and bags of towels. And I said, darling, at least I'm safe. If anything
Yeah.
happens, I'm looking over the towels, but there's an example of finally, why am I doing that? And I think there was a photo we took Christmas Day. I'm out there washing towels for the clinic. What am I doing?
Oh
But
no.
so I was dumb. I didn't want to see patients. So I think it was a good use of my time, but I was still washing the towels.
Yep.
Mate, work that out. But
Yeah.
what are you doing in your business that you just shouldn't be doing? You shouldn't be washing the towels. I just read a book, Buy Back Your Time, Dan Martell.
Yep.
And the two biggest things you get rid of your email and you get rid of your diary management. And I read that book and I thought, I'm checking too many emails. So I've got my PA now. I had a meeting this morning with my PA. Here's the folders. You check all my emails. You put the ones that you think I need to action. It's time management stuff.
Totally.
You send me the ones that I should deal with, the only I can deal with, but I don't. The idea is not to open an email first.
Great.
And I love it. And
Love it.
someone wants a meeting like this. When I think I answered your email, it was maybe a
Yeah.
LinkedIn thing. But Nicole, my PA, will now look after that. Yeah, James, I know James. Let's have a chat. And so
Yeah.
she'd send you the diary link. We'd be on here. I'd know nothing more than turning up and having this chat. So
How good.
that's then the business is serving you, not the other way around. And think about what's taking your time that you shouldn't be doing, whether it's vacuuming the floor or getting the post-it, whatever it is. Just
Yeah. And do you
get rid
think
of it.
it's about, do you think it's about people's ego of wanting to let go, or do you think it's the fear of letting go?
I, it comes back to what's the purpose of the business. I drove no ego from having six practices. I didn't want to be the best physio in Sydney. I didn't care if anyone knew me. And it was a success as I was at that clinic, as a success when no one knew me. That was success for me. But a lot of people they want to be the head. They want to be the go-to person. They want to be the problem solver. They want to feel important. And one way they do that is to make people rely on them. And I used to say to my guys, they got sick of me in the end. If they'd asked me about, for the time that I was there, for the hour or so per week that I dropped in to pick up the money and the towels, I'd usually have a meeting with the manager, each of the locations. I'd have a meeting and I'd say, any questions you got? And they'd ask me a question and I'd reply always with the same thing. I'd say, what would you have done if I wasn't here? Well, I would have done this and this. Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's the answer.
Yeah, and they got to the point, James, where they didn't ask me anything because they knew I was just going to say, "What would you do if I wasn't here?" So it became pointless.
Yeah.
But and most time it was right. But you just empower them to make decisions, right or wrong. I'd go on holidays for 6 weeks of the year. Helen and the kids, we'd go to the Loughborough convention fitness conference over in the UK every year, and it was the base of our holiday. So we'd do that, make a bit of cash, and then go on holiday. And I'd said to my PA, she had my email address. I had a holiday email address,
Right.
And only she knew it. My brother had it, my family, but it was a holiday email address. And I said, email me if the clinic's burned down. But there's nothing really I'm going to be able to do about it, but just message me to let me know that it happened. And I never got a message. I never got an email. I never got a phone call. They'll manage it when you get back.
Yeah, so true.
But some of us want to be important, and we get our importance from those things. I always found it more important to be at my daughter's sports carnival, or that was important for me. But that's easy for me to say that, James. That was my philosophy. Everyone's got their own philosophy. I don't think I got any self-esteem from running 6 practices. I don't think I got any self-esteem from being a speaker or anything else, but I got that from being a good dad and a good husband. And I think that was just what was important to me.
1,000%.
And Helen and I have been married for 30 years. I got 4 daughters who still tolerate me. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Maybe that's why.
And that's the thing. And I think it's so important. And personally, my kids are 15, 17, and 32, my stepdaughter. And it finally hit me actually a couple of weeks ago where what you've just said has really hit home for me about being there, being present, being a father in their early years has really paid dividends now. What they're wanting to do after school, how they go about themselves, how they hold themselves, how they communicate has been being there and being at the carnivals and being at the info nights and all that at a young age, because I chose that over the business in relation to not working from 7 till 7, so to speak, but working around it and making sure that, and I think that's the investment and the return on as a dad, as a father, has been really profound. And I can't agree with you more around that. So true. Hey guys, just a little side note here. How's it going? Are you on track this year? I know that sometimes this part of the year we can feel like we're in a bit of a grind, a bit of in the trenches. Are you on track from the original plans that you set out for the rest of this year? What I've realized is that with this time of year, we get so distracted and we've got trying to chase so many shiny balls and go down so many rabbit holes. And that's why I created a program called the 90. It's a framework that actually allows you to achieve more in 90 days than ever before. Some of the feedback that we've got from some of the people that have used the process, the 90, is that they've achieved more in 90 days than the whole previous year. So if you'd like to have the tools, have the techniques, have the framework on the 90, so you and your team can achieve more in 90 days than ever before. What it does, it impacts you of how to get clear, what you need to do, and who you need to be to show up in order to achieve the things you want to achieve over the next 90 days. Simply head over to jamesshort.com.au, click on join the waitlist, fill in your details, and one of the team members will be in touch and take you through the 90 framework. On with the show.
And how they parent. You then I've watched my daughters, how they parent.
Yes.
And you see it. And I heard a guy the other day talk about what's your legacy. They said, what's your legacy? And what's your legacy, Paul? I don't want my name on a building. The legacy is what your family and friends think of you. I think that's your legacy. And it points at something. I know I learned this very, very early in my life. And so I don't want this to be a guilt trip. The people that are working hard and doing it really tough, it's easy for me to get in here and say, yeah, I didn't need the money or whatever. I was successful. Yeah. But you can get sucked into it. You can get sucked into the trading time for dollars thing. And someone said to me once, he said, there's no such thing. You can't put a monetary value on your family time. And like that phone call from the admin manager saying, can I come in and do that work? Now I could have done the day and I might have made $1,000, 2,000, whatever I would have made, two grand, whatever. Or I could have gone to my daughter's recital or concert was on the same day. And this is the mistake. People, well, do I get the 2 grand or do I go to my daughter's carnival or do I don't? You're putting a monetary value on your family time. And it's a ridiculous analysis. It's not even a fair comparison. There's no money that can pay what you'll give when you look back on it, what you'd give to have not missed anything. I've got a mate of mine. He's one of Australia's leading sports physicians. Busy guy, like big wig. And we do a boys' getaway every year. There's a lot of guys you'll know. We go on this couple of days getaway of this thing. And I said to him, and I'd organised it, and I got a phone call from him the day before, and he said, oh, mate, I can't make it this year.
Oh.
I said, why not? So I got these patients. I got this going on. I said, have I got to come and get you myself? I said, what? I said, answer me this. What are you going to remember? He said, what do you mean? I said, when we sit down 20, 30 years time, whatever, what are we going to remember? Are you going to remember the patients that you saw? Or he ended up coming, by the way, because I guilted him into it. or you're going to remember seeing my cousin Wayne disappear over the handlebars of his quad bike into the creek. What do we talk about? And because that's what happened. So we talk about when Wayne went over the handlebars. And this is the stuff. So look, and yeah, it's easy for people to say, yeah, it's okay for you guys. You've been there and done it. But it was choices all the way along. And you can at any time make a choice. And sometimes that choice is you have to do what you're doing for a while to make the money. But you look at where's it leading me?
Which is the end in mind. Which is the end in mind.
My daughter's a lawyer. She's only just recently graduated. She's learning the ropes because she's looking at what her options are. So she's got to do the hours at the moment to find out where the opportunity is to then leverage it. Same in real estate. You'll do the hours to get the qualifications, experience, but then you'll think, where does that take me? What does that let me do? That lets me set up something like Paul and James have done, whoever your role model is. But
yeah, definitely.
You won't lie on your deathbed wishing you'd done more work. I tell you right now, that's not going to happen.
Exactly. Talk to me about managing teams. You've got some great clients in relations to you've got some great practices who manage great teams. What's the thought process around managing teams? Because as we know, in a lot of the industries, margins are decreasing. People are wanting more. There's different expectations. How do you go about managing teams, and what do you share with your clients around managing teams?
Only reason I've laughed at you is because in our practiceology group, there's 3 or 4, let's say, more mature people like me, and we're old school. And you know what we're like. That's your job, mate. Just get on with it and do it. There's none of this nurturing, goal setting, kumbaya business. It's just down and dirty. Just get on with it. That's what we did. Why aren't you doing it? And that's probably why I was banned from a lot of the recruitment stuff at our practice, James. Helen was much better at that because she was a nurturer, feeler, carer. I got banned from most interviews because I'd give anyone a job because I thought, rightly or wrongly, that I could put systems in place that would be good enough that anyone could do it. So my philosophy was removing discretion at the operating level of the business so that anyone could do it.
Right.
Which freed up my recruitment because I just needed someone with a registration or an admin who could answer the phone to do the job for me.
Yep.
So the better your systems are, James, the more freedom you have with your recruitment. We all know this.
Sure.
You leverage, and Gerber said it, you leverage ordinary people with great systems. And it's a terrible expression, but it's true because you've got a wider pool. You don't have to pay top dollar. You can leverage them with great systems. Is that still current? It's tougher and tougher, but I think there's an underlying message here that we've seen the last 10, 20 years. And I teach all of our guys this. It's maximum profit with the minimum number of team members.
Great.
Because no matter what business you're in, James, the more team members you have, the more headaches you're going to have.
Yep.
It's just, you're going to. I created this law, it's made up, Wrighty's law, that as your number of team members increases, it is in health businesses, and this would be the same in real estate, as the number of team members you have increases, the number of work hours, contact hours you are able to do. So in health businesses, the more team you've got, the less consulting hours you can do as an owner. You need to do, because you're managing people then. You're same in real estate. If you've got 20 team members, you can't be on their open houses. You can't be doing this. You can't be doing the selling because you've got to manage 20 people. And I think my good friend Jamie Hayes, Jamie says you can't manage system, you can't manage people, you can only manage processes. Because people are unmanageable. They're people. They're irrational. They're emotional. And if you get a group of any business owners together in a room, they're all whinging about stuff. Regardless, and you might find a superstar, James, but then they'll move on, and then that happens. They'll start their own place, whatever. So you can't run your business based on superstars. So roundabout question, get as small a team as you possibly can, leverage them with amazing systems and processes. So think about the systems, don't think about the person. And this then becomes the paradox of ownership, James, the paradox of recruitment even. And I say this in most of my presentations to owners and even to team members. My job as a practice owner or business owner is to make you replaceable. And I say this very openly to my team members. My job is to make you replaceable, because I can't have you, if you leave, I can't have that impact my business. So I've got to make sure that my business survives if you leave, or if you get hit by a bus or whatever. So I've got to make you replaceable. Yep. And I make no apologies for that. So I'm putting systems in, and they'd say to me, you're doing this so if I don't come in, you keep going, don't you? Exactly. That's exactly what I'm doing. And they knew it. Yep. I said, but your job, you're going to make yourself irreplaceable. So I'm trying to replace you, and you're scratching and clawing around trying to make sure you are irreplaceable. So they be coming to me, I've got this new idea for a program. I've got this idea for this, and I can launch this, and I'll go your halves in the profit, so that they're making themselves irreplaceable. And I think
it's a whole shift. It's a whole shift.
You're going knowing that, and this whole culture, nurture, fair enough, I get it. But at the end of the day, they don't give a shit about you. They're going to move on. They're doing the next thing. You just accept that's going to happen, and you don't take it personally when they leave. You don't even take it personally when they steal your client base and open up the road, because you made it possible for them to do it. You give them access to whatever you did. I can't tell you how many times that happened, James. A practice team member of ours would open up the practice up the road. And other team members would say, aren't you devastated? Aren't you going to go after him legally? No, because what's the point? If my business is able to be replicated by one guy going up the road and opening up, or girl opening up the road and doing it better than us, then there's a problem in my business for a start.
So true. So true.
That's going to happen. They're going to, and you just accept you're going to have turnover, accept people are going to leave, just make the onboarding painless and easy, so that if they leave, it's not a pain in the ass. Because how many times, it's in every business, how many times does a team member come and ask for a pay rise or some ridiculous demand, and the owner's screwed because they're stuck. Oh, this person's made themselves irreplaceable. I have no choice.
Totally.
I wanted the team members in my business to know there's always someone else coming up. And it started with our recruitment, James. We'd always have someone would ask about a position at one of our practices. So I'd say, how about you just go in, and you know the St. Leonard's one, St. Leonard's Fitness First. Beautiful club, pool, millions of dollars worth of equipment. They'd ask me about working at Get Active Physio. No worries. All you get to do, just go into the St. Leonard's clinic and just go up to the front desk and say, I'm here. I might be starting work at Get Active. Paul said to drop in and say hi and look around. So this steady stream of people will be turning up at the front desk of the practice. The physio might be saying, hi, I'm Brian, Paul. I might be starting to work here. Paul sent me to come and have a look. So the therapists behind at our practices are knowing these people are always coming. And then they'd look around the club and they'd see the pool. Their eyes would go all Jafar, the old spinning snake.
Yeah.
And before you know it, they come out transfixed. They're going to work at Get Active because they love it. They don't care about money. They don't care about terms, conditions because they want to work there. But my team know that there's someone else always in the wings. And so recruitment becomes such a big part of your business success, James, because otherwise you're hamstrung and you're stuck by who's coming. The better your recruitment systems are, if someone leaves, no big deal. If they make ridiculous demands, no big deal. The systems just onboard the new person. The systems in real estate are usually very good, depending on the franchise, but they're better than most businesses. But that's the key to success with team members. People, someone said to me once, Paul, they're emotional, irrational, and people have got a people.
Yep.
They do what people do,
Yep.
which is, and just don't try and work it out. Just accept it. Oh, that's people.
That's right.
Brian,
That's right.
Brian, when can you start?
That's right. Now, Paul, on our show, we have our 60-second quiz to find out a little bit more about our guests. Are you willing to play?
Oh, I'd love it. I love a good game.
All right.
This could go anywhere as well. All right. I've just probably put off the whole audience, but all right. What do you got?
Here we go. Favorite food?
Oh, I love a schnitty. Hard to beat a schnitty. Yes.
Love it.
With
Favorite
chips.
movie?
Mate, old school. Top Gun, the original Top Gun.
The AG.
Motorbikes, cars. Oh, just aeroplanes. Yep.
Favorite holiday destination?
I always loved Hawaii. The beaches in Hawaii, the waves. It's cool. Love Hawaii.
What's your morning routine?
Gym first. I've been training it's either gym or paddling. So I'm in the gym 5:30, or I'm paddling. I've got the luxury of the lake or the ocean here in Newcastle on the water, or in the gym.
Evening routine?
Early dinner. I'm old. Early dinner. Helen and I sit around and watch some afternoon or evening TV. Mate, we repetition. And now one night a week I look after my little grandson, and that's getting more frequent. So that's the evening routine.
Beautiful. Do you have a biggest regret?
Ooh, not big on. I actually have a regret minimization plan. So it's just that
Okay, great. I love it.
Your life's your life, James.
Yep.
Or maybe I regret selling a bit of real estate that I probably should have held on to. Equally buying some real estate that I shouldn't have bought, but we've all got that. Anyone in real estate knows that story. Anyway, I should have asked you earlier.
Do you have a most embarrassing moment?
Looking back on the bodybuilding days, I was a competitive bodybuilder for a number of years. Looking back on that, James, what was I thinking? standing in front of 1,000+ people in the smallest possible underpants you could ever imagine, after my poor beautiful wife Helen had just painted me with a paint thing to make me brown. Like, what was I thinking, James? And you show that if the kids knew this went on, oh goodness me, what was I thinking?
Oh, it's so funny. I love it. I love it. If you could choose 5 people to have dinner, 5 inspirational people to have dinner with, who would they be? They could be dead or alive.
Ooh, Jesus Christ, it'd be interesting, wouldn't he?
Yep.
Like, just to see what really happened. What went down, mate? Give me the real story. Probably just alienated the next half of the audience. Who else? Oh, a lot of my mentors. I like Dan Kennedy, marketing, old school marketing guy from the USA. I like Dan Kennedy. Barack Obama would be an interesting person. Oprah, just for the stories. Probably the same sort of list that most entrepreneurs come up with, the inspirational people. And Schwarzenegger would be fun. I've got a few from the bodybuilding days, old Arnold stories.
Love it.
Were they true? I'd love some of those ones. Did that really happen, Arnold?
Yeah, that's right.
I'd love some of that stuff. But there's
Awesome.
probably the same list as everyone says. That was all I thought.
That's great. That's great. If you were Prime Minister for the day, what's one thing that you would change?
Oh. I want to change it, but maybe it's a policy thing for everyone. I'd be probably saying, don't rely on politics, don't rely on policies, don't rely on anyone else. One of my mentors told me early, James, never go into a business where someone else controls your fees. So look at health providers caught up with NDIS, or providers or insurance companies or fixed rate things. Maybe it's a warning to business. If I was the Prime Minister, warning out there to business owners, don't go into business where someone else is controlling your fees. And because we've got some roles in the NDIS, we're going to be cutting things. Don't rely on us for your money, because it's going to be cut down. But that's a mistake. But that's a mistake again, James. The owners went into it going into a business where their fees were capped by some other third party. That's a dangerous business to be in.
Yeah, definitely. Best piece of advice?
never put a monetary value on your family time is a big one. And the other thing is there's no such thing as quality time with your family. Quality time doesn't exist. Quality comes on the back of quantity. I'm home once on the back deck of our house. My 16-year-old then, my daughter was 16 at the time. One of them came in, not a crier. She was in tears. I said, "You okay, darling?" She just broke down. And I gave her a cuddle and said, "What's the matter, darling?" "Oh, it's okay, Dad. Don't worry about it. I'm all right now." And she took off upstairs. No, I couldn't have planned that. I just had to be there. So good things happen on the back of quantity of time. So you can't just say, I'm going to do this in this 2-hour window. It'll be quality time. So best piece of advice, just spend time with your family and friends. Good things happen when you do that.
Love it. Love it. And so how can the audience find out more about your journey, follow you, or reach out?
Probably they don't want to after today. Check out, you can find me on LinkedIn, Paul Wright, Newcastle. I'm a LinkedIn guy. And our main website, if you know a health business owner who needs a help, wants to get a copy of my book, How to Run a 1-Minute Practice, just head to mypracticeology.com. So mypracticeology.com, you can get a link to my book, get a free book, or have a chat with me. If you're a practice owner or a health professional, want to know how to do it, or hit me up on LinkedIn. Love to have a chat.
Righty. Really appreciate it. Love your energy. Love your experience. And thanks for joining us on the show.
Pleasure, mate. Love what you're doing. Good on you.